My name is Vince McIntyre. I'm 67 years old. I was born in the west of Ireland. I'm a farmer, and I do woodworking, various, a jack of all trades, you might as well call me, yeah. I've lived here since 1979. I found this place by accident and decided to camp here with my girlfriend in 1979. She was a mountaineer, and we made our temporary camp here, and here 30 years later, still here. It was a beautiful place, and when I come here one time to help somebody get firewood, there was an old clear cut, and all the trees were down, but it was so beautiful, the panorama of the mountains and the lake and all that, that I thought that'd be a nice place to live. When I decided to make a living farming, I have to go back to my childhood and how I started. I come from the west of Ireland, and my childhood was, I have fond memories of my childhood and going and the things we did, and my experiences with, how we did things. Easy, easy. I worked for farmers. The immigrant kids, it was quite common for them to work at an early age, because that's what we did in the old country. This little cabin that you're looking at here was built about 7 or 8 years ago, and I built it as a temporary shelter, and I spent a lot of my life most of my life outside. So in the winter time, I often come home cold and wet and so on, and I wanted to have a little place that I could sleep and have a stove in it, so I could have the place warm in 5 minutes or so, and go to bed. So that's my sleeping hut, I call it. In today's world with traveling, you have to be really verbal, because how are people supposed to know who you are? But if you're living with people from all your life that has always known you, you might as well not bother talking, because you are what you do. And if people that come to work for me are not working for the heart, they're in the wrong place, because the reward of going out there crawling rows in July is hard work. And if you're doing it just because you're going to get $11 an hour, it's not enough for that kind of work. But if you're doing it so you can learn to do it well, and someday do it yourself, then it's worth your while doing it. This old GMC van, I think it's 1962. Back in 1979, it was my home, and I traveled from place to place, and I carried everything I owned in it, and I had my canoe on top, and my girlfriend and I found this place in 1979, and we were come here to camp and make a base camp for the winter. It slowly become the library, because my wife had a lot of books, and I had a few, and we had a place to store the books that was relatively well sheltered. So over the years it accumulated a lot more books, and now it's known as the library. I think you don't have to have that kind of thing of do or die. You don't have to understand it. But in my childhood, you had to. Like if your cow died, or you didn't get your crops or whatever, you would be in starvation time, because the neighbors wouldn't have enough. People would help each other out, but grudgingly, because they didn't have they would rather help the gypsies on the road than some lazy neighbour that the guy was a drunk and he didn't, get together to put in his potatoes in time, stuff like that. They would there was no sympathy for that. So it made people, a certain way. Just the sentiments of their neighbours and society in general was, yeah. When we look at the past, we see the good parts of it, and I'm telling you the good parts. And I have spent a lot of my time in them good years where, I was depressed about stuff and thought too much about what's happened to the world and so on. And believing in and realizing that I'm helpless. If I don't have a tree planting job, what am I going to do? I'm getting too old for it, and I don't believe in it. So when I started growing food, I come to realize that this is really important.